A very good afternoon to you, and thanks for joining us on Midday Live with me, Nana Ikuya Mensa Brampa. And coming up this afternoon, Head of Research at Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Center questions security of new armored vehicles for the presidency. Also, court issues bench warrants for DKM CEO and others. How Herculean a task will it be for the Auditor General to be given prosecutorial powers to surcharge public officers? We will find out. And in business this afternoon, 8 months after the Veterinary Service directed for stamp meat purchase, we find out how it has fared. And later on the foreign front, supporters of Morgan Tsvangirai, Zimbabwe's opposition leader, bracing for the worst as their leader is reported to be in critical condition. We have the detail of these as well as the latest in sports all in the next hour. You want to stay interactive with us. It's TV3 Ghana on Facebook and our Twitter platforms. Let's settle now for the detail. And TV3 News can confirm that government over the weekend took delivery of 34 cars for the presidency, 10 of which have bullet-resistant exterior. Sources say the luxury cars arrived on a Global African Airlines cargo plane. The presidential fleet's contract was awarded by the John Mahama administration barely a week before they left office. Now, the original number of cars ordered was 43. The New Patriotic Party administration, which has attempted to cancel the entire contract but failed due to certain clauses in the contract, managed to reduce the number to 34. It saved the country $3 million from the initial cost of $9 million for the 43 cars. Now, the state also avoided incurring a judgment debt by deciding not to cancel the contract. Meanwhile, Head of Research at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Center has criticized the manner in which the pictures of the president's armored vehicles have been splashed on social media. Dr. Kwesienin, speaking on 3FM Sunrise Morning Show, cautioned against the security of the president must not be compromised for anything.
Well, it ought not to have happened, but it's happened. In reality, not that much. But I think there's a bigger picture here.
Okay.
What do we need to do to protect the presidency and the president?
Tell us.
How much should we as a nation be willing and prepared to pay to protect the first gentleman of the land and the most important people around him? And I remember when Mr. Kufuor imported some vehicles, we had this conversation. The protection of the presidency and the president should be without doubt in terms of the monies and the equipment that we need to protect the president. I mean, this recurrent conversation does not help. The president must be protected as optimally as possible. These are not, I'm sure, custom-built vehicles for the president. I'm sure they've just been upgraded. You know, unlike the beast of the USA, where they are custom built, particularly and especially for the presidency, with the specifications necessary provided by the White House details. I doubt very much if that is what has happened in this case. You know, so protecting the president is key. And this perennial conversation, I think, should not happen.
Okay.
Of course, the concerns that people have as to the cost benefit and what the monies could have been used
exactly
for is neither here nor there.
Why isn't it neither here or there, Dr. Enin?
Because you see, it's the president who drives his vision and his agenda for the generality of the Ghanaian populace.
Why, so Dr. Kwesi in there interacting with Winston Amwa on the Sunrise Morning Show on 3FM. Meanwhile, government says in place of the 9 vehicles, it has taken delivery of 100 Toyota Corolla cars at a cost of $8.8 million to retool the police service. Deputy Minister of Information Mustafa Hamid says the NPP government remains committed to protect the public purse whilst ensuring value for money.
I hereby report to you today and to the Ghanaian people that government has accepted the VIP fleet of vehicles, having come to this conclusion. 1, that government is bound by the terms of the contract signed with Amalgamated Securities Limited. 2, that abrogating the contract may incur significant liabilities for government. In doing so, government has, however, made sure to obtain maximum gain for the public purse and also for securing the security of the state. The government of President Mahama ordered 43 VIP vehicles at the cost of 91 million United States dollars. 9.1 million United States dollars. I'll take that again. The government of President Mahama ordered 43 VIP fleet of vehicles at a cost of 9.1 million United States dollars. We have renegotiated the terms of this contract in the following manner. 1, we have reduced the number of vehicles ordered from 43 to 34, which is 9 short of the original number. In place of the 9, we have acquired 100 Toyota Corolla cars for use by the police service, in line with our commitment to retool the Ghana Police Service to enable them play effectively their role of protecting the Ghanaian people. We have done all this with a total amount of 8.8 million United States dollars. This decision is consistent with our approach towards contracts that we came to meet, where, if possible, we have renegotiated the terms to make them more favorable to the Ghanaian people. We will renegotiate these contracts and make sure that where possible, we are getting value for money, and where possible, we negotiate them downwards, and then we can protect more the public purse. We remain committed to our goal of protecting the public purse while ensuring the value for money and securing the greater good of the Ghanaian people. Thank you for coming, and God bless our homeland, Ghana.
Information Minister Mustafa Hamid there. Now to some other stories. The Auditor General, Daniel Dumelevo, has applied to the Attorney General to grant him powers to prosecute those indicted in the annual Auditor General report. Addressing a news conference in Accra, he noted the current system is always characterized with repetitive stories of financial mismanagement.
Powers of the Auditor General could be extended if he is granted prosecutorial powers to fight corruption within the public service. The Auditor General, Daniel Dumelevo, was positive the fight against corruption is going to be stronger than it has always been, with the focus of prosecuting public officials who engage in the practice.
I have sounded a warning in the report that whoever authorized the payment, whoever effect the payment, and whoever received the payment, they are all candidates of surcharge. That's why we gave guidance that the Constitution says when you are aggrieved by the disallowance, go to the High Court and appeal against us.
He expressed disappointment in some accountants within the public service for engaging in double payments for goods and services procured within the public and civil service. Some of these overpayments, he indicated, come as a result of some accountants' failure to act professionally, which he suspects are sometimes deliberate.
The first regulation is to make records available in the course of audit, and in case the Minister of Finance needs it or the Accountant General needs it. So anyone who is managing or keeping public funds has a statutory duty to keep the records. We cannot find it is not an excuse. And some boldly write it as if it's a justification. They'll tell you, yes, we spend the money, but we cannot find it.
He said the Auditor General report, which is annually presented to Parliament, will no longer be a compilation of wrongdoings and embezzlement, but will include actions taken to retrieve the monies.
We are not going to finish our audits and wait for the TV show at public accounts anymore. When we finish our audits, we raise observation against you, and you decide to ignore it, we will disallow the expenditure and surcharge you.
He expressed this is to ensure funds spent on the ministries and agencies do not go waste.
Right, so the question remains, should the Auditor General be giving powers to prosecute? Well, let's hear what a cross-section of the public has to say.
The Auditor General is asking for some additional powers which will enable him prosecute people or agencies that are cited for financial misconduct in the annual Auditor General's report. But to what extent can this go in helping fight corruption? What do you think?
I think it is necessary for them to grant him the powers to be able to prosecute, because what is happening in the public sector is very serious. And if it is only a mere annual rituals of only come out report and no action is taken, then we are only wasting our time as a nation. I think there's nothing wrong if the special prosecutor is coming. He can play a role, and the special prosecutor can also play his role. I believe in that way we'll be able to cleanse the system of all this rot.
Over the years, whenever it comes with the findings, you realize that the reports come, nothing is done about it, and which is worrying because they are paid to work. So if he or she is given the powers, I think that will also help in a way. As we have the special prosecutor, he can't handle all the work. So I think certain aspects should be also given to the Auditor General to do.
I think he will do very well to get powers to prosecute, because since the onus lies on the Attorney General, so they must give him powers to go ahead and do whatever.
It is the right decision that they are taking, and I believe that going through this process, using money to audit, coming out with the report, and then at the end of the day, they don't have the powers to prosecute, and then they send it to the various institutions, and at the end of the day, they don't know where the report is, and you don't know what action is taken. So I believe that the Auditor General should be given the powers to prosecute after auditing. It will help, because if they know that the Auditor General will come out and then investigate, I think it will reduce some of this corruption going on.
When you look at the Auditor General, the power to audit and send it to Parliament, and then the Public Account Committee also cannot. When they come out with recommendation, nobody is responsible to implement. But if the Auditor General has his own powers to do prosecution, I think that would be best more than other agencies that are supposed to investigate corruption, because they know how they audit and they know the violation of the laws that the agency or any officer who is in charge of that has done.
Right, so let's keep the conversation going on. It's TV3 Ghana. You can also send your thoughts to there, and I will manage to read it to the rest of the world. But talking about powers, we will want to get a breakdown of exactly what powers we're referring to when it comes to the Auditor General and powers he can exercise. Joining us this afternoon via Skype to break it down further, Justice Swimsai is a lecturer at the Gimpa Law School. Good afternoon to you, Justice, and thanks for joining us on Midday Live.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you.
Now, tell us, how does the Auditor General get his powers in the first place?
Thank you very much. The Auditor General are clearly listed under the Constitution, and then the same set of powers are reproduced in the Act that establishes the office. Now, the request for additional powers may bring two challenges. One may be legal, as one challenge is the legal challenge, and the other one is the institutional challenge. I will first address the institutional challenge before I go to the legal challenge. Now, the institutional challenge is that prosecution, as I know it, is not an easy task. it involves a lot more than having a legal department at the Auditor General Department, who probably for want of job may want to be given additional functions to prosecute. I have listened to Mr. Domelevu, and he appears to suggest that the request is based on what his legal department is saying. And we should be very careful what we ask for. The question is, the Attorney General's department, or the department for the Directorate of Public Prosecution, has the duty to do this work. To be able to know whether this duty is out of unwillingness to perform or inability, we should find out exactly why they have not been able to perform these duties all this while. Until we pinpoint the exact reason why they have not been able to perform this function, I think it will be more of a rush to suggest that the power should be given to you. So, on the institutional point of view, I think the call is not really justified. 2, from legal perspective, I have already indicated that the power of the Auditor General is provided under the Constitution and is listed. From a constitutional law point of view, you cannot assume a power that has not been given to you. What it means is that asking for powers more than the Auditor General's office has been given under the Constitution will require
well, Justice,
amend the Constitution to extend those powers. And the reason why the framework.
Well, there's
hello.
Why, Justice?
Yes.
Why? So, well, we're having a little breaks here and there with us, but I'll go back to you, Justice. If you can hear me, is it better now?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me, Justice?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so then I ask my next question: how Herculean will the task be? Let's wrap up with this. And will this be an answer to solving issues of corruption in the public service? Quickly.
I was raising a very important point on the constitutionality of the request, which I think I should be able to conclude before.
Okay, briefly on that.
Yes, so I was saying that the power of the Auditor General is limited under the Constitution. If anyone wants to extend the powers, it will not be merely an issue of delegation under the Law Officers Act as is usually done. It goes into the independence of the Auditor General, which is also guaranteed. Therefore, an extension of the power, I believe, should, from a constitutional point of view, should be done by a constitutional amendment rather than just a mere delegation of power from under the Law Officers Act. Now, so that is the challenge with the whole, suggestion.
Right.
And I've heard commentaries from some of my friends who suggest that it is merely an issue of delegation, but it goes way beyond that.
Okay.
So my point is that we should be very careful in requesting for more power and also in obviously trying to take more than we have been given.
Okay. All right, Justice, thank you. We are grateful for your time there. Justice Sai is a law lecturer at the Gimpa Law School, well, explaining really the pros and cons if the Auditor General is given those powers he's asking for. But let's move on to Parliament, as the majority leader in Parliament, Osei Chairman Sambonsu, has expressed fear Parliament in the next 4 to 5 years will be full of money bags and not people with competence. He says people are now greasing their palms of constituents just to enable them enter Parliament. The Swami MP is worried the act has the potential of breeding corruption, which will be difficult to fight. And he spoke with Evelyn Tingma.
The Center for Democratic Development, in collaboration with Westminster Foundation, in a report indicated that members of Parliament and other persons wanting to go to Parliament spend close to $86,000 on campaign just to be elected. The majority leader in Parliament agreed the amount could be true, adding, depending on the constituency one is contesting, it could be more.
What is the typical constituency that they are talking about? Because depending on the constituency that you are contesting, you may end up paying more, and some may also pay less. I think it's something that as a country we must confront.
Sitting MPs are often under pressure from non-MPs in the constituencies, forcing some MPs to borrow heavily to contest.
The member who spends that much comes to Parliament and his party doesn't win the election. You expect him to stay here. He'll be following outside to look for money.
And that affects Parliament's...
It affects the business of Parliament. It affects the quality of work that we do. If the member's party wins, what do you think? And he's made a minister, he's made a deputy minister, what do you think will happen? Certainly, when contracts are awarded, corners may be cut and the nation will suffer. If we want to fight corruption, bribery and corruption in the system, we should look at this because it's one of the factors that engender corruption. Except that whenever you raise it, people are jittery. Nobody wants to deal with it.
He added, parliamentary business is affected because when MPs realize that Parliament is not lucrative after all, they abandon parliamentary duties to engage in other businesses.
And still in Parliament, Chairman of the Appointments Committee of Parliament, Joseph Osei-Usu, says they are ready to vet Martin Amido for the Special Prosecutor position. He always says the committee is to receive petitions from the public, and the Appointments Committee has set February 13 to vet the President's nominee, Martin Amido, and he spoke to Evelyn Tingma, our parliamentary correspondent, once again.
We are fully ready. We are prepared. We have set the ground rules. We have given the date. We have advertised for the public to bring in memos. So all is set.
Have you received any memos from the public?
Not yet. It's still open. So
when is the deadline for receiving?
Until we start sitting, anything you bring, we will consider it. We will sit on the 13th up to the 12th midnight. Anything that is brought to our attention, we will consider it.
So if you don't receive anything, you still go ahead?
Yes. It is our job. Receiving information from the public is only to assist us to do our job better. If there's none, we'll still do our job.
Okay. So, but 13th, looking at the time the Speaker referred it to the Appointment Committee, hasn't it taken too long?
No, this is our general practice that it's 14 days, but we may sometimes abridge it. This time we looked at the calendar and we didn't want that to interfere with the mission. And so we decided to go the full hog, the 14 days.
Well, so we'll still stay a while longer in Parliament, this time around talking about the cash for seat saga, where Chairman of the Constitutional Legal Committee, Ben Abdallah, says the action of the minority to write their own report is illegal.
What I know is that we have only one report. The minority may decide to do their report outside the precincts of Parliament. But when it comes to within the chamber, the only report that we can speak to presented by the committee to the plenary this morning.
Well, why didn't you factor in comments that they're asking the committee to incorporate into the report? Why didn't you consider factoring in all those things that they brought up?
No, did they present their dissenting view to the committee? Or they went about presenting their dissenting view outside the committee to the public? And I think the second question is the true statement of the true statement of the facts. I am informed that they got a copy of the report, all right, but they did not let their dissenting view be captured in the report. All that we heard was that they were on the radio presenting their side of the story, which appears to be contrary to what is captured in the report. So let's wait and see what the report contains, and let's see how the events or the arguments will unfold.
So can we be assured of a healthy debate today?
As for a healthy debate, yes. The report will be presented. The report will be debated. and the report will be voted upon. If you talk about a healthy debate, I think probably you are looking at the minority also contributing. As to whether they will contribute or not, or walk out of Parliament, or stay neutral, that is something that I can speak to.
Watching Midday Live coming to you from the News Hub. And let's move away from Parliament now to the Bunahafo region, where the Sunyani District Magistrate Court A has issued a bench warrant for the arrest of the embattled Chief Executive Officer of the defunct DKM Microfinance Company, Martin K. Dele, and 4 others for allegedly defrauding 24 people of an amount totaling 2,445,778 at Nkranza. The other accused persons with a different microfinance company, Care for Humanity International, are Juliana K. Dele, Richard Zawi, Amadou Ibrahim, and Aziz Abdallah Achulowo. They have been charged with defrauding by false pretense, contrary to Section 131 of the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29. Now, the 5 accused persons who are scheduled to appear before the courts presided over by His Worship Mr. Hagan Jojo Amwa on January 15, 2018, failed to do so and did not appear on the rescheduled date of January 24, 2018. Their action therefore compelled the magistrate to issue the bench warrants for their arrest to be brought before the court on February 21, 2018. And our Bunahafo regional correspondent Larry Parkwesi Moses joins us for more on this particular development. Hello, Larry. Thanks for your time.
Hello, Priya.
Now, what more can you report on this development?
Yes, thanks. According to the 24 complainants, the accused person made false presentations on radio that they operate a microfinance business that yields 60% interest on cash deposits. So that made them to, as it were, deposit various sums of money to that defunct microfinance company. So, according to the 24, they were not prepared even to send the case to court. They were looking for either their principal or the principal plus the interest accrued. But it seems anytime they call the owners of those defunct companies, either they get them and then they tell them stories, or they don't get them at all. So they were compelled to go to the Nkranza police station to lodge a complaint for the case to be sent to court. So Martin Dele and the wife Juliana Dele, the 3 had to reappear on the 21st of February on Wednesday. If they fail to appear, then the court will decide next what to do.
But do you pick where the CEO is currently?
Hello?
Do you pick where the CEO is currently?
Hello?
Can you hear me, Larry?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Have you been able to interact with the affected customers, and what are they saying?
Yes, as I said earlier, I spoke to 2 of the complainants, and they were telling me that they were not even prepared to send the case to court because they were demanding for either their principal or the principal plus the accrued interest. So they were not prepared to send the case to court because they know how the court issues are. So they were looking for their money. At any time they call either Martin Dele or the wife, Juliana Dele, it's either a story today or a story being told tomorrow. You understand? So they're compelled to go to the Nkranza police station. Now they are prepared to go the full court when the case is called at the magistrate court.
Right.
Don't forget that they are to reappear on the 26th of February. That is coming Wednesday. They are to reappear. And if they fail to reappear, that is when the court will decide next on their case.
Thank you, Larry Parkwesi Moses, there with that report from the Bunahafo region. You're watching Midday Live. We're taking a breather. When we return, there's more. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. You will recall in May 2017, the Veterinary Services Directorate cautioned the public to desist from patronizing any meat from either a slaughterhouse or a market that has not been embossed with a stamp from the Veterinary Services Department. Now, the Directorate subsequently launched its Quality Assurance Meat Inspection Stamping Project at the Takoradi Slaughterhouse with the aim of educating the public on the need to patronize only approved meat. Now, the Quality Assurance Meat Inspection Stamping Project is expected to be implemented nationwide and in all the 329 slaughterhouses and abattoirs in the country. Now, we're looking at 8 months down the line. How has the directive fared? All right, so Dr. Bashiru Boy Kikimoto is the head of Public Health Division at the Veterinary Services Department. Doc, we are grateful for your time this afternoon. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Nana.
Now, it's 8 months down the line. How has the directive fared so far?
I can say so far it is moving on well. There are some few challenges, and I'm sure maybe we'll reach there. All the 10 regions in Ghana have gotten their stamps. All regional capitals, all soft metros have gotten their meat inspection stamps. So I can say that it's moving on well. It's just
you talk about challenges. What challenges are you referring to?
The challenges are that, for example, like in Greater Accra, they do the slaughters in the night. And the butchers are always putting pressure on the veterinary meat inspectors on them to hurry up because they have to go and meet their suppliers. And I want to use the opportunity to let all those who go to the market to buy, that if you go to market to buy any meat, I don't see veterinary meat inspection stamp on it, like the one here. You see, it is written Greater Accra Veterinary Services Directorate. Then you have Amasama Slaughterhouse or Central Market Slaughterhouse. If you don't get that on the meat, don't buy.
Now, it brings to the question of this stamp. Are you aware that the directive is strictly not being adhered to?
Unless it is from an illegal slaughter place.
So you've not had any cases?
No, it is from illegal slaughter place. It means it's not correct. And that's the aim of you bringing me here, is to tell Ghanaians that if you go to any market or any slaughterhouse to buy meat and there's no veterinary stamp on it, if there's even assembly stamp on it, don't buy it, because assembly is not supposed to put stamp on meat. They can put stamp on the slaughterhouse wall because that is their property. But when it comes to meat, diseases of animals, and quality meat and wholesome meat for human consumption, the ante-mortem and post-mortem must be done by veterinary services in accordance with this law. The Public Health Act 851, Act 2012, Section 7, Clause 108. You have to follow only this one. So from now onwards, every meat that you buy must have veterinary meat inspection stamp.
We'll come back to you and find out what you're doing to ensure that every meat here in Ghana at every slaughterhouse is being stamped. But we spoke to a cross-section of the public or of meat products looking at the directive 8 months down the line.
I'm not even aware such a thing exists.
I've not heard about it. I'll communicate it to my wife so that when she goes to the market to purchase a meat, she'll check whether it is stamped or not.
Yes, I have. Well, at our market at Achimot. Well, with the stamp, it comes in a form of a logo. It's stamped on the meat. At times when the meat comes in a goat, they don't just cut it there. They bring the full goat, so you can see the stamp on the skin of the goat. Yeah.
The buying from the vendors is the problem, because it will be very difficult for you to know whether the seller has been given the accreditation.
Right, so we still have Dr. Boy Kikimoto here in the studio. And Doc, I'm sure you listen to the public there. Even though some know about this stamp, others don't. Does it mean the level of education still remains low when it comes to this stamping of the meat product?
I think you are very, very correct. And I think my directors are hearing, the Minister of Food and Agriculture is hearing. We need more, resources to engage the media and the public
on awareness creation, on what we call social mobilization and risk communication, for people to understand that veterinary services is making its own effort to make sure that human beings don't unnecessarily die from diseases like anthrax, TB, brucellosis, and those things. And that's why we are taking this measure. So we need the support of everybody, the National Butchers Association, journalists, politicians, to support us to make sure this project does not fail us.
And is there any punishments for people or butchers, let me put it that way, who do not adhere to this directive of stamping the meats before they take it out to sell?
Yeah, we are actually engaging the Food and Drugs Authority, the Environmental Health, the police, so that we will make a task force and move into the market, because we want to make sure that every animal...
It hasn't started?
It hasn't started. That is because the task force has just been formed. We are passing through some orientation.
So when are we seeing this task force on the ground?
I think that give us maybe the next 1 month. We want to make sure that we move inside and make sure everybody sends his animal to an approved slaughterhouse. Accra, every place now has got a stamp. Every place. Even Jamestown has gotten its own stamp, because we are going to improve the situation there. They are using clean water. They are doing everything that is needed.
Okay, Doc, let's move away from meat products now. Let's talk about rabies and its vaccines. There was shortage of vaccines last year. How far have you gotten to?
Yeah, I think that with the...
Do you have some available now?
Yeah, with the journalists, I need to explain the thing for them to understand. There are two types of vaccine.
Okay.
The human one and then the animal one. The animal one has never been shot. It's the human one which is shot.
Okay.
But according to my colleague, public health officer at the Ministry of Health, Ghana Health Service, he told me from last year, November, they had enough stock.
So they have stock since November, till date?
Yeah.
Okay, we are grateful for your time.
Thank you very
Dr.
much.
Bashiru Boy Kikimoto, who is the head of Public Health Division at the Veterinary Services Department, there talking about meat products and, well, it's associated strict adherence when it comes to the stamps. But let's do some international news now.
Supporters of Morgan Tsvangirai, Zimbabwe's opposition leader, are bracing for the worst, Reuters news agency has been told. Tsvangirai, 65, has been in South Africa receiving treatment for colon cancer since January. However, a source close to the politician has told Reuters the situation is not looking good. They added he is critically ill and we should brace for the worst. Family sources told local news outlets he is suffering from exhaustion, weight loss and muscle thinning. Tsvangirai became the symbol of resistance to longtime leader Robert Mugabe's aging repressive regime in the mid-2000s, leading the movement for democratic change.
Right, so thanks for staying with us. We're going to the floor of Parliament now. Our news just in is that minority is warming up to stage a walkout, and Haruna, they've actually walked out of the floor of Parliament, and well, Haruna Idrisu was the one currently on the floor. The issue that was raised was that the report on the cash for seats probe was voluminous, and they only got it today and can't debate it today. So news just in is that the minority in Parliament has staged a walkout. My colleague Evelyn Tingma is in Parliament now, and she's joining us with some detail on this particular development. News just in here right now is that minority in Parliament has staged a walkout, and it's all bordering on the cash for seats saga, which we understand that the minority leader in Parliament, Haruna Idrisu, well, says that the report is voluminous. Evelyn Tingma joins us. Hello, Evelyn.
Hello, Nanekia.
What more can you report on this walkout by minority?
Hello, Nanekia.
Yeah, Evelyn.
Nanekia.
Right, so what more can you report on the walkout by the minority?
Well, Nanekia, like you just said, the minority has just walked out, and according to the minority leader, when the paper is laid, it's supposed to take 48 hours before it can be debated. But according to him, the paper was laid and it hasn't been 48 hours yet. And so the House cannot debate this particular motion. And moreover, he is saying that the document, that the report that they got it only today, and it is 146 pages. and they are saying that they've not had enough time to peruse the report, and so they cannot make quality contribution to the report. And so he's asking the Speaker that if the motion could be stepped down so that it could reach the 48-hour process, because that is the rule of Parliament. And so, but the Speaker wouldn't listen to that, and so the minority leader indicates that if the majority side will continue with the debate, then they, the minority, will not be part of it. And after that, they all walked out from the chamber.
Right, but were you able to gather anything also from the majority side?
They just walked out, so I'm going to follow up on that issue. So we'll keep our viewers posted.
Well, thank you, Evelyn Tingma, with that report. We'll be bringing viewers more detail in our subsequent bulletins right there. That is the news just in that the minority stage walked out in Parliament. But let's do some entertainment news now. And contrary to claims that he is irrelevant now, popular actor and comedian Ejako says he has a lot up his sleeves to wage a comeback. Ejako, who has been on a lengthy hiatus, disclosed that some movie producers deliberately planned to sabotage and destroy his career. He was speaking at the launch of his new mobile app, Ejako 2C TV.
And you only have a jet to me down. One for Jantum Badia.
Born Alex Kofiedu, comic character Ejako is credited for his immense contribution in redirecting interest back to local movie content in the early 2000s, when Nollywood movies dominated. The gifted actor became a household name thanks to his impressive exploits. He featured in Paul G's movie Okonfa Noche, produced in 2013. Strangely, that turned out to be his last major movie. Ejako is no more relevant, some critics have concluded. The actor strongly disagrees with that assertion.
Ejako na agwo enye no na enye dene ye share that na say send pa we yan twinisi fom. The
actor blamed his long absence on his scheme by some producers to sideline him after he refused to play a role which he found morally wrong.
And let me come out Yasinati. Mekoye confornati sin. Sinin as a confornati ejari in Sum Ayanokre. But director and said, Me Romy Honike. Cromuni in Ejinamechi. A manus ejinamanim even in sanya omokura no a sini aye ya ba bonten abetete nkwada nyame nipa mpanimfo behwe bi no na Ejako me Roma daja so naked dia ba maame enti wutirim ebetene me catch ro mo se omo me nkata so na yenim kwa ebefa so adwale ne yebeye o ma nte ase ana omo se ne omo maame nya adwuma ana me tu me ka ba fi eno ho po na omo koboye.
The popular actor thinks he still has no competition.
Me mu do sin wo mo nyina me se me nya me se so. Our industry me nya. Omun me kire se me nya me se so wo industry.
Ejako has every reason to smile now. Ejako TV, an online TV platform to disseminate his content for a fee, has been launched.
There are icons in this country who are undoubtedly with a following. If I had the option between Ejako and a telenovela of another country, I will watch Ejako TV. It is promoting Ghana, it's putting money in his pocket, and it's putting Ghana on the map. We're here to monetize their talent, we're here to support them, and to give the creative industry a boost.
Ejako will now worry less about being sabotaged.
Ejako TV. Well, I will just try and get that up on my phone. But there's more on our website, it's 3news.com, talking about minority walking out of Parliament on the cash for seat debate. You can visit 3news.com for this and more news updates. My name is Nanekia Mensa Abrampa. Enjoy your lunch and have a good afternoon.